Identifying the public and private revenue streams generated when high-demand jobs are filled is critically important. Quantifying examples of those revenues has helped illuminate the achievable value those unfulfilled job openings represent. But unless we can establish appropriate mechanisms for capturing and managing those revenue streams, nothing much will change. Which is why Competitive Wisconsin has suggested focusing our recruitment and retention objectives on 4 specific workforce populations, each requiring a different approach. The first population would be non-Wisconsin residents qualified to fill high-demand jobs and become Wisconsin residents. The second would be current Wisconsin residents not currently employed in high-demand jobs. The third would be non-Wisconsin residents prepared to be educated and/or trained for high-demand jobs and to live and work in Wisconsin. And the final population would include all Wisconsin resident high-demand workers. For example, for those ready to fill an existing high-demand job opening and work in Wisconsin for 5 years, the state should consider establishing a public-private authority tasked with collecting, managing, and dispersing contributions made to the fund in support of employer-certified residential workforce recruitment and retention in Wisconsin. Employers would recruit ready-to-work high-demand workers. The employer and the potential workers would agree on a package of qualified incentives. The agreement would be written up as an enforceable contract, obligating the employer to pay a specified matching amount and the employee to agree to live and work in Wisconsin for 5 years. The state would then validate the revenue projections and commit to its portion of the incentives costs, at which point the investment management fund would have an opportunity to invest or not invest in the contract. If it decides to proceed, it would oversee the collection and disbursement of agreed-upon funds. On the other hand, when it comes to those prepared to be educated and/or trained to fill high-demand positions in Wisconsin, the state should consider establishing bonds that would generate revenues for tuition and/or other education training costs. Recipients of these revenues would be required upon graduation or certification to work in Wisconsin for 5 years, and the bonds would be paid off via the revenues generated as a result of their filling a job opening, similar to incentive payments managed through the investment fund. Attracting and retaining high-demand workers will be directly affected by the ability of the communities and regions in which those jobs exist to create and sustain a desirable quality of life. For that reason, the state should consider authorizing local units of government and other appropriate regional entities to establish 501c3 economic development foundations dedicated to helping fund activities that address this need. In so doing, the state should also consider authorizing the local units of government to claim an agreed-upon small percentage of the public revenues generated locally as a result of successful high-demand worker recruitment and retention. The state clearly has a role to play in authorizing and enabling the Workforce Recruitment and Retention Investment Fund, the pipeline bonds that we've talked about, and authorizing the possibility of regional or local 501c3 economic development funds. In addition, however, there are other things that all of us will need to think about. And that's why Competitive Wisconsin has started to gather discussion starter thoughts and opinion from Wisconsin leaders across the states. We've talked to employers, we've talked to association leaders, local governmental leaders, and economic and workforce development professionals and educators. And it's why we hope you will join this important effort and share your thoughts with us as well. Thank you.